This is Dr. Carroll, and in this video I'm going to be walking through an exercise dealing with the keyword this. So if we had a bare bones vehicle class and we wanted to create a constructor, let's do this using the this keyword. Now this is code, so I want to already copy and pasted it here. Same thing. Constructor goes here. Well, it's a constructor. So then we have public, no return type vehicle, and then we have to use this, let's go ahead and give it some parameters. Now if you're like me, often you're like, let's see what makes sense. Well, we need to pass in the make and we need to pass in the model, and it's like, well, what other terms would make sense? It's like make and model, right? Because that's what we're passing in. Well, now the problem is if we have make equals make, it will compile, but this make refers to the parameter and this make refers to the parameter, so that's not going to work. It'll execute, but we're just burning carbon credits basically. And so we need a way to say, I'm referring to the field, I'm referring to my class level variable here, and this is a reference to its own object for that class. And so while it's private, that's okay, we're in the same class, and so we can access it with this.make. And then similarly, we can do the same thing for model. And there we go. Now, if we wanted to see this in a slightly different light, what if we wanted to have a constructor that took no arguments? Well, make and model are objects, and so they default to null, and so they really should be initialized to empty string in a constructor. So we could do that simply by saying this and using parentheses here, and that's going to call a constructor. Well, that's just going to call ourselves, so that doesn't make sense. But we could just pass it to empty strings to say, hey, I don't know what these values are, but we need to not have them be null, we need them to be empty strings. And then this with parentheses will end up with two arguments, will end up calling our other constructor. Now while we're here, let me just take a moment to motivate this a little bit further. We need to be careful. Don't overuse this. Only use it when it's necessary. Only. Don't show off that you know how to use it and use it otherwise. So for example, if we had a get make, doesn't take any arguments, we could have return this make. Now that is valid code, but it shows that you don't really understand the usage of this, because that also works and it took 5 less keystrokes. So this would be the preferred method, the preferred way to write this. Don't use it when you don't need it. And you need it when you have a parameter that masks your field, or you're trying to call the constructor. That's what I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it.